Avoid buying toys which comprise of toxic or flammable materials. For infants, toddlers and children who put small objects in their mouths, avoid toys with small parts as they pose a choking hazard.
Reporting to the media this week at Post Executive Council Media Briefing is the Chief Secretary Orville London.
Let me first start by congratulating the Secretary of Finance and his team for what I consider to be a very impressive conference held at the Magdalena yesterday as part of our Finance Week. I think there were a number of statements made by the distinguished speakers who would have addressed a number of the concerns which are facing Tobago at this point in time. I was particularly interested in the address given by Tobago-born Dr. Shelton Nichols, who I think put in a very professional perspective the plight facing Tobago with respect to its underfunding for development projects, and of course the case for bond financing and what it means for the Tobago House of Assembly and what the Tobago House of Assembly will have to do if it is to source this particular option. And of course this was strengthened by the issue having to do with the public-private partnership and the presentation by Professor Bourne, all of which point to the fact that at this point in time, Tobago has to chart its own course with respect to its development path. And we are committed to doing that. And I was very heartened that all of the presenters indicated after the session they were prepared to continue partnering with the Tobago House of Assembly. They really expressed a genuine desire to help, and I'm certain that the Secretary will lead the charge with respect to ensuring that these gentlemen stay on board. Of course, we all know that the test is really going to be what happens after and what kind of impact this will have on our decision making in the future, and of course, how can we ensure that we actualize some of the sentiments expressed at the meeting. I know that we are committed to doing this. There are some challenges. I think one of the biggest challenges facing us is the whole question of data collection, data evaluation. It is not as simple as it might seem. It's a very, very expensive exercise. It requires a high level of expertise, lots of infrastructure, and even if we would like to do it, we cannot do it alone. And we're really going to be involving ourselves over the next couple months in very serious discussions with the CSO and all the relevant agencies to ensure that we can have access to the type of reliable data which will allow us to make the kind of decisions which will, of course, benefit Tobagonians. On another not as pleasant note, a very interesting thing happened yesterday, or at least during the course of this week. On Monday of this week, I received an invitation from the General Manager of the Trinidad and Tobago Electricity Commission, inviting me to the commemorative ceremony for the overall and natural gas commissioning at the Cove Power Plant, Cove Eco-Industrial and Business Park on Wednesday, November the 13th. Now, I was therefore quite surprised when I recognized that this event took place on Tuesday, November the 12th. And quite interestingly, it was only this morning that my secretary received an apology from the office of the General Manager of TNTEC, apologizing for giving me the wrong information. Now, I'm not casting any aspersions, but it seemed quite peculiar. This is not a letter, it is an invitation. And there were people there. And the people were there on Tuesday must have got an invitation telling them to come there on Tuesday. So how it is I got this invitation for Wednesday, November the 13th, and did not get a correction until this morning when it was too late, is quite interesting. But I think what is even more interesting is a clip that I saw on the local television channel where the representative for Tobago East and, of course, Minister in the Ministry of the People, Mrs. Vanilla Allen Toppin, was indicating to the people of Tobago that one of the reasons why she went to the function is so that the people of Tobago will know the kind of contribution that she is making to bring benefits to the people of Tobago. But I think she might not know that the people of Tobago are not short-sighted nor are they feeble-minded. And the people of Tobago will know that that facility which she is claiming is a facility which was delivered to the people of Tobago more than 5 years ago under the previous PNM administration. I think some of you might have been there when we had to plow through the rain in order to do the official opening. And in fact, what was delivered to the people of Tobago was a dual-powered $100 million US electrical plant, 64 megawatts. And all that meant is that it could be powered either by diesel or by gas. So initially, when the gas was not available, it was powered by diesel. In the meantime, under the previous administration, on our insistence and our recommendations, the $1 billion gas pipeline between the BHP Billiton Field in Trinidad and Cove, that pipeline was put in. And then a $300 million processing plant was also commissioned. And in other words, it is all of those three things coming together, close to $2 billion worth of investment that will have culminated in what was in fact really a switch over from diesel to natural gas. That is all it was. And I'm not saying that, one should not attempt to take credit where credit is due. But I think that one should not attempt to falsify history in order to make our political mileage. So I'm just saying that for the sake of the people of Tobago, I am very comforted that all that planning and all that expenditure would have come to fruition and would, of course, be bringing benefit to generations of Tobagoans, where we could have affordable and, most importantly, reliable electricity and reliable energy available to consumers on the island. I just want to advise that there's a new board at what was previously the Financial Assistance Unit. The name has been changed to the Department of Advanced Training and Advisory Services. And the members are Mr. Selby Leslie, who returns as chairman, Ms. Ruthlyn Antwine, school teacher, Ms. Natasha Duke, a young professional, Dr. Lydia Jones, an experienced professional, the sitting administrator in the Division of Development and Planning, Mr. Oscar Braffith, and the sitting administrator in the Division of Education, Youth Affairs and Sport, Ms. Alison Lawrence. These two positions are really the post, the position, and not the individual, so that the administrators will sit, whosoever those administrators might be. The name was changed to the Department of Advanced Training and Advisory Services simply because we recognized that there was a need to shift the focus. The name Financial Assistance Unit gave the impression that this was a unit whose major focus was on dispensing funding for persons wishing to access tertiary level education, and that was part of it. But it was more than that. It was also, and there were different, now that it has been reconfigured, if you want to put it like that, we now have different divisions or different units, where a very important aspect of it has to do with the advisory services. Louis, that comes first. A number of people come to the unit intent on doing what they like or what they feel they should do, without necessarily having the kind of information that will allow them to make choices which will benefit them in the future. So that many of these people, when they graduate 3-4 years down the road, find themselves in a position where they have a degree, but they remain unemployed, and in some cases, in the present climate, are unemployable. And we have areas where there is a surplus, and areas, of course, where there is a dearth of skills and trained individuals. So that there is an advisory aspect where people coming in, people who are studying, people who have returned, advise as to what the present situation is, what the future is likely to be, and are in a position where they can hopefully make the best decisions. Then there's also a monitoring aspect, where while students go to university or college, they are monitored and, of course, counseled and guided and so on, even while they are here. They are there. There's also a placement aspect to it, and that is the unit within the department that treats with returning students, liaises with divisions, liaises with the private sector, so that when people come back, when people return home, we know that they will get the best advice and give them guidance and direction as to how they can fit into the workplace. Prospective employers, whether in the private sector or the public service, are also given information on returning graduates, how many are coming, what are their skills, and so on, so that they can be that connection, that synergy between the divisions, the private sector, and the returning students. So we're really hoping that at the end of the exercise, that we are going to have a unit that is much more amenable to the kind of challenges facing young people today, and much more relevant, and one that will be able to respond more effectively, and of course provide better service to the young people of Tobago. I just wish to share with you a letter which I received from, the Secretary of Finance received from Milshire Properties Limited, and refers to the THE Administration Building, and it is dated the 4th of November 2013, and it reads, "We refer to the above-mentioned project and advise that works have recommenced on site by the main contractor, Beaver Construction Limited. At present, preliminary assessment and preparatory works are ongoing, and we anticipate that the contractor shall be fully mobilized by the 14th of October 2013. As you will no doubt be aware, we have incurred a delay of approximately 12 months as a result of the court matter between the Tobago House of Assembly and the state, which we are now happy has been resolved. Works have resumed on site, and the construction period for the project remains at 16 months. In seeking the interest of the project, and in order to successfully advance works, we request a designate from the THA to be a liaison with the contractor." So in other words, based on this, The contractors should be fully mobilized by tomorrow, and the project is supposed to last 16 months. Of course, had it not been for the delay, that project should have been delivered somewhere around April or May of this year. Basically, of next year, sorry. Basically, based on this estimate, we are not likely to have the project delivered to the division and the people of Tobago until maybe the first or second quarter of 2015. That should be the first quarter of 2015, yes, 16 months. So that generally is the situation. I think we are all relieved that this very tedious process has now reached this particular point where work will resume and we can, of course, move on to dealing with the construction. We are expecting that as many Tobago contractors and Tobago employees as possible will be used on the site. And of course, when you link that with proposed work in construction in the settlements, in the division of settlements, I think that this should be quite an interesting year for skilled workers and persons in the construction field in Tobago. And while we're on the subject of delivery, the Secretary of Health and Social Services has indicated that there'll be another walkthrough at the laundry on Friday. That is to see the persons being trained. That's a walkthrough for the media, and that there should be a startup on the 25th. That is Monday the 25th. That is the information coming from the CEO. I think some of you would have seen the facility and recognize that it is a high-class facility. And of course, still in the delivery mode, the Speyside Y Zone will be commissioned this afternoon. On Sunday, the newly refurbished Cudler Hall Community Center will be commissioned. And then on Sunday the 1st, that is this Sunday, Cudler Hall Community Center, and then Sunday the 1st of December, the Canby Y Zone. And I just wish to, as I close, to remind all of us that the nominations for the Chief Secretary's Awards, those nominations close at the end of this week. So just pass the word out there so that we'll be in a position to treat with those nominations, and that the awardees can be evaluated and, of course, selected.
I don't know if you have heard about this letter that was written by Douglas Minster of Florida, who is saying that there's an issue where stray dogs are being left to be in the rainforest. They're basically being abandoned in the rainforest. Do you have any comments on that?
No, I think I saw a letter. I'm not certain whether it came to me or it was directly from him, or it came to me through some other source. But I did see a letter. I wasn't certain if it was stray dogs in the rainforest or stray dogs generally. The question of stray dogs is one that has been with us for some time, and there are various options that have been put to us. It is something we need to treat with urgently, and we were looking into the possibility of linking. I can't remember which one of the boroughs. I think it might have been San Fernando, for some dog catching equipment and trained personnel and so on. That is something that we will continue to pursue. I can treat with the Secretary of Health and Social Services, also I think the Secretary of Marine Affairs, Marketing and the Environment might have something to do with that. But I think it was primarily the Secretary of Health and Social Services. I promised to check with her to see what the present situation is. But it is a problem, and it's not just the stray dogs in the forest, but the stray dogs on the beaches and on the streets. It is something that we want to treat with. For example, I think a couple of years ago, there had been some spaying and neutering of the, I hope I get the terms right, of the animals. That did have some positive impact, but it was never sustained. So it is something that has been put into the public domain again, and it deserves to be, and we'll have to look into it.
Is there any update on Mr. Sandy's condition?
Well, he is improving slowly. I haven't seen him personally for a week or so, but the reports that I get from his wife and so on indicate that he is improving, but slowly.
So do you think he will return as the Secretary for Infrastructure? Well, if he will return as the Secretary to his position?
Well, I really don't know, because it will all depend on not just the rate of recovery, but where he plateaus. And that is something that only time will tell.
Thank you for tuning in to another Tobago House of Assembly's Post-Executive Council media briefing for the week ending November 16th, 2013.
It is important to inspect furniture carefully before buying or accepting. Check for small scratches, loose legs, or missing screws. Generally, ensure the sturdiness of the furniture before purchasing. When buying a bed, ensure it is firm and can withstand your weight, as well as others who would be using it. If possible, take other persons in your household to test its sturdiness and strength.